How's it going, YouTube? Before I begin this dissertation that's very much needed, I got a couple of little gifts here. Not gifts, but little gifts I purchased myself. So, I don't know, I like to share some of my cops every now and then. Every now and then I like to share some of my cops. So, and this is a wrap. So, got the Zion Williamson voodoos. What you know about that? That's those voodoos. That's those voodoos. What you know about the Zion Williamson voodoos? What you know about that? What you know about that? Yeah. Yeah, this is all my getting myself geared up for, because you know I'm going out to the Philippines and Thailand real soon, guys. So getting myself geared up. That's them voodoos. Guys, I actually bought 3 pairs of these. I liked them so much because I know I'm gonna wear them. So I wanted some replacements. What you know about that? That's the Zion Williamson. I don't know. The nickname is Voodoo. Air Jordan 1 Retro Low OG. It's called. Always keep the receipts for authenticity in case I want to resell them or someone wants to challenge if my stuff is real. I've never bought a fake anything in my life and never will. Okay, here's the next one. These are the Air Max 90 UO. These are the Grateful Deads, guys. These are the Grateful Deads. What you know about that? These are the Grateful Deads. These are the Grateful Deads. What you know about those? These are the Grateful Dead. I bought these really almost as an investment. Though I might wear them because I don't think they shot up too much. But anything Grateful Dead related has a chance to shoot up. It has this kind of, I don't know, like a carpet like feel on the swoosh. So that's the Grateful Deads. That's some Grateful Deads. Just got them. Comes with the little keychain. Y'all see that? Yeah. Bunch of shoelaces came with it. So I like them. Again, this is my Philippines Thailand fits. You know, you can dress a little more. That's why I love Asia, man. I love Asia when it comes to dressing, guys, because I love it because, you know, in America, man, especially for us black men, it's almost like just baggy shirts or sports gear. And in Asia, man, you can just you can get a little more wild. You can wear colors, you know. I mean, I've lived in LA so much, man. Like I hardly have any blue or red because it was too dangerous to wear it for decades. You know what I mean? So because the gang, you weren't allowed to. For those who don't know, certain colors were considered gang uniforms in LA, and you might get hurt if you wore the wrong color in certain neighborhoods. So and I know you brothers know, but in case there's some folks from other countries watching. Actually, there's only 18 people watching. I only get about 22 views per video, but for my 22 fans, you know, I just wanted to explain that. So, okay, so these are the Grateful Deads. And this is my other new pickup here. Yeah, guys, Kobe's. These are Kobe's. These are Kobe's. So, look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This is the Air Force One Low Protro. Air Force One Low Protro. I like that blue. I like that blue. I like the contrast. I like that. I like these so much. I don't even know if I'll wear them, but I probably will. Look at that. So, you know, these are my latest. I have a lot of shoes, but these are my latest pickups. So, yeah. As I stated, guys, when you go to Philippines, remember Asian women dress nice. If Asian women have the money, they all dress nice. They care about fashion. So yes, if you've got money, they may overlook the fact that you're in flip-flops and shorts, but they really don't want you to be. They like men who dress nice and smell good. So just keep that in mind, guys, especially short kings. You're already short, man. You got to be fashionable. You got to at least be fashionable. You will do yourself. It will mean the difference between a woman liking you for real or a woman just using you for money, man, based on how you carry yourself, how you style yourself, and how you take care of yourself. All right, so let's get to the show. Today I'm doing a video on a subject that I've been sort of criticized for off and on really my whole life from the women in my family and I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. And that is it okay for black men to be specifically attracted to light-skinned women? And when I say light-skinned, I'm talking about light-skinned black women, mixed race or a quarter mixed or just whatever genetic input they have that makes them light-skinned. Is that okay? Are black men somehow traitors or sellouts or, self-haters for being specifically attracted to light-skinned women? And the women in my family, which strangely enough, a lot of them are light-skinned, have always had a negative things to say about the black men in my family if they dated a light-skinned girl, or not negative, not in a hey, you bet not bring her home, because the women in my family, again, many of them being light-skinned themselves, they always thought of light-skinned black women as still black. So let me get that straight. They always you know what? Let me retract that. Let me retract that a little bit. It's not as if we were condemned for liking light-skinned black women, but it was always some comments, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, all you color struck. You're color struck, yeah. You guys know the comments. You're color struck, you know, light bright, damn near white. You guys know the sayings. And so you kind of, as a black man, you kind of grew up knowing that, okay, the women in my family are going to feel a little, they're going to feel some type of way. Again, they think of the light-skinned girl as black. That's not the point. They don't shun them as non-black. But, they almost kind of like the women in your family are saying, hey, I guess a real black girl isn't good enough for you. Or I don't know. But that's the vibe. So it was always sort of, made fun of, or not the girl herself, but our love for them. But the question is that wrong? Is it wrong for black men to specifically like light-skinned women? And to that, I have 5 points that I've got written down here that I want to go over. But I want to start by saying, in my opinion, it depends. It depends. So, if you just biologically happen to find light-skinned women attractive, like you look at a light-skinned girl and she's just pretty to you, then I don't see anything wrong with that. At least not on the surface. Now, I think there are things that might have led to why you feel that way, which I'll go over. But as far as you doing anything wrong, no. No. Because that's who you are attracted to. The problem comes in when some black men, and I don't think most of us do this, but some black men will sometimes pedestalize, put light-skinned women on this pedestal and assign positive personality traits to her that aren't there. Like, she's nicer, you know what I mean? She's cleaner. She is sweeter. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That couldn't be further from the truth. So if you are a brother that sees a light-skinned attractive girl and automatically you assign these positive personality traits to her, you're not only sadly mistaken, but you're actually doing yourself harm. Because let me tell you, I have known and spent time with light-skinned girls, and I mean not just light, stark white as well. And some of the worst treatment I've ever received was from the whitest Irish freckled face, redhead girl you can imagine, and some of the lightest skinned Mexican girls you could ever imagine. I was treated like crap, and deception and dishonesty abound, and they were as light as you can get. So don't, you're doing yourself a disservice by assigning positive personality traits just because someone's light-skinned or just because someone's attractive. The other thing that would be wrong with a brother liking light-skinned women is if he's putting dark-skinned women down because of it. If a black man is basically saying light-skinned women are better, and by better I mean personality-wise, innately, genetically, you know what I mean? As a person, light-skinned women are better than dark-skinned women. Now we're getting into some buffoonery, and another word that rhymes with boon and buffoon. Okay, now we're getting into that because there is no difference in personality quality from a dark-skinned woman than a light-skinned woman. Or if a black man can really say he's never seen an attractive dark-skinned woman, that's kind of weird too, guys, because I mean, yeah, if you're 11, if you're 10 years old saying something like that, or fine, but if you're over 20, you've never seen a pretty dark-skinned girl, there's some other things going on. So there are I will admit there are some folks that have a certain amount of self-hate where they have assigned negative personality traits to dark-skinned women, and that is what causes their love for light-skinned women. Yeah, that's a negative. You don't want to engage in that. You don't want your who you're attracted to be a reflection on some other group that you're putting down. And I think that's what a lot of black women feel and why they feel negative about it. Because a lot of them think that when we choose light-skinned women, we're at the same time condemning dark-skinned women as if they are genetically and innately worse. So you don't want to get involved with that because it's absolutely not true. As as we can see from all the basketball players that keep losing their fortunes to women, almost every one of the women are light skinned. But P. Diddy is sitting in jail right now in part because of a light skinned woman. So let's hold off on making light skinned women saints and angels because they're not. If you happen to think they're pretty, so be it. A lot of them are. But we don't want to be a buffoon about it and start attributing these angelic or positive qualities just because a girl happens to have a white grandmother. You know what I mean? So I do want to get that out of the way. Having said that, though, I don't think black men should be shamed if they legitimately find a certain group of women or a certain kind of woman attractive. And I got 5 points that I want to go over. The first one is attraction is personal. It's not political. Okay, physical attraction, it's not some sort of social movement, and it shouldn't be. It's biology. And psychological response. Men are hardwired to prefer what visually excites them, right? So you almost can't control it, right? Sometimes it's women that even fit what you normally would like, but there's something about them that just doesn't do it for you, and you're not attracted to them. Rihanna comes to mind. I can fully understand why people like Rihanna, but I personally don't find her attractive. Even though I can see she's attractive, I can understand why people find her attractive, but I do not. Now, Beyonce all day. Lauryn Hill all day. It don't have to even be someone light-skinned. Lauryn Hill, back in her heyday, was the sexiest woman on the planet Earth to me. Whereas Rihanna does nothing for me. Biologically, she doesn't stir me. Not that she cares. But I'm just saying, that's just giving that as an example. But if a light-skinned woman happens to stir the biology of a man, of a black man, that doesn't make him anti-black. Keep in mind, here in the United States, and the way black Americans see black, light-skinned black women are still black women. So if I'm dating a girl that looks like Mariah Carey, I don't feel as if I've betrayed it. Not that not that not that there's anything wrong with not that there's anything wrong with dating someone outside of your race regardless. But I'm just saying, I certainly don't feel as if I have betrayed or I don't even feel like I've gone out of my race if I'm dating someone who looks like Mariah Carey. That's a black woman. And again, not that dating within your race is required. That's not where I'm going with it. But just for those that act like you somehow aren't, you aren't pro black because you date a light skinned girl. That's ridiculous to me. So it's not a political thing. It's biological, and if that's what you're attracted to, that's what you're attracted to. That doesn't make you anti-black, but it makes it, you know what it makes? It makes you honest about your feelings, and it makes you honest about your tastes. Kind of allowing yourself as men. I'm talking to men here. Allowing yourself to feel guilty by what you're attracted to when there's nothing out of the ordinary about what you're attracted to. That's kind of like self-punishment. Like you're punishing yourself for no reason. There's no one to it's, first of all, it's no one's business, and you're not doing anything wrong because you find women that of a fairer shade to be more attractive. And in fact, as those of us who've traveled the world, in America, of course, they try to make it seem as if black men are the main culprits. You go anywhere, regardless of how it happened, light-skinned women, the light-skinned women in almost every country, the men like, you go to the Philippines, the light skin, the ones who either look Spanish, like they're mixed with Spanish, or the ones who look like they are part Japanese, part Chinese, part Korean. Those are the preferred women. You go to Mexico, the women, and to me, the mestizo women are the prettiest of all. But you go to Mexico, the women who look like they're actually Spaniard from Spain, those are the blancas, those are the güeras. They're the ones who all the men want. So it's not just black men, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with liking who you like. So point number 2. And this is where we get into a little bit of psychology. Cultural conditioning affects everyone. Every human culture pushes certain looks as an ideal. Every culture has what they consider to be pretty. You got some people disking your lip, and that's pretty. Neck long, that's pretty. It depends on your culture. East Asians, like again, not just East Asians, Asians, they favor pale skin. Every last one of them, from Tibet to the Philippines, from Malaysia to Mongolia, they prefer light, fair-skinned women. How it got that way, I mean, we can delve into that, but I'm talking about what is at the moment. Latinos idolize European mixed features, and even Africans have hierarchies of tone and phenotype. Okay, acting as if it's only black men who are colorist or noticing light features ignores that this pattern exists globally. This is what I'm trying to say. Recognizing it isn't, to me, self-hate. It's awareness. I don't know, I mean, we've heard it all, hey, lighter skin meant that you didn't work in the fields. I don't know if I really buy that. I mean, I guess, but whatever happened, and I do believe that light skin predates the desiring of light-skinned women is before slavery. I know that it was exacerbated and hammered with colonialism and slavery, but I think it predates that because way in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, Wasn't it King Solomon? He was in love with someone called the Shulamite maiden. Look that up, Shulamite. I can't spell it. Just look it up. Talk to ChatGPT. Shulamite maiden. And I think she was very dark skinned or perhaps even black. And King Solomon was in love with her. And in the Bible passages, whether you believe in the Bible or not, the story is at least 2,000 years old, whether you think it's true or not. So I'm just talking about the age. The Shulamite maiden, the maiden that King Solomon, I do believe, who was in love with, she was saying, you know, I'm just a dark skinned girl. I'm just a black girl. She was saying, like, why would a king be in love with me? I'm just a black girl. Even then, this was before slavery. This was before the slave ships. This was before England even existed. Okay. So even then, she was kind of putting herself down for being dark skinned, which leads me to believe that, okay, even then there had to have been some issues. Look up another story. Moses. People don't realize Moses might have been married to a sister, guys. Moses. Yeah, I do believe his woman was either very brown or black, a black of some kind. I'm not saying she was Shaquisha from Alabama, but she was dark skinned, darker than Hebrews normally are because they mentioned her skin color. I think Moses' sister Miriam, who wanted to lead the women in the songs and dance, was complaining that Moses wanted his woman to lead the, you know, the singers, the women who would sing when the men would come back from battle. That was that was a high position for a woman to lead the music and lead the band. Hey, you know, the men are come back, they won. That was a coveted position, and Moses' wife wanted to do it. And I think Miriam, which is Moses' big sister, said this black girl, this dark skin, look it up. This dark skinned girl, she wants to, I should be doing it. I'm his sister. I'm a prophetess. Her black ass wants to do it. Something to that effect. And God cursed her for it. But the mention of speaking down on her because she was dark skinned was there. Now, that's just my assumption. I could be wrong, but you know, people have been favoring lighter skin for a long time, and I'm not saying it's fair. Look, I'm darker than 3 a.m. So trust me, I wish it wasn't that way. Okay? I do. I know it's easier on men to be dark skinned, but I grew up in the 70s. I was born in the 60s. I remember dark skin got popular around the Wesley Snipes, Bobby Brown age era. Wesley Snipes, Bobby Brown, and to a lesser extent Tupac, because he wasn't real dark, but he was kind of, you know, dark skinned brother. Those three guys really are in Big Daddy Kane. In Big Daddy Kane. But this is all late 80s. Prior to late 80s, it was not cool to be dark skinned, even if you were a dude. I was called every name. People, Africans talk about African booty scratcher. You think that's all a dark skinned American guy was called? They complain about being called on the playground African booty scratcher. A lot of Africans. That's the least of it. I was called African booty scratcher, and I'm not even an African. But beyond that, blackjack shellac, black times at Richmond High. My little baby sister, when I was walking with my friends one day, she called me Darky Dark and the Funky Bunch. I mean, just anything you could think of. Charcoal, crispy critter. So it was not easy, even as a black guy prior to like 86. Okay, so trust me, I don't like the idea. I wish it was different. But even today, I mean, brother, dark skinned brothers have made a lot of strides and it's gotten better. But even today, I mean, let's be honest, Drake, Chris Brown, that's the top of the line dudes that all the women really like. They're either brown, light brown, or light skinned, even today. So, but yes, admittedly, it's a lot better. Once Wesley Snipes and Big Daddy Kane hit the scene, I started being able to do call, I was able to, get mine. But it took them. Before that, I was Count Darkula. So I wish it was different, but we have to live in reality. So, but my whole point I'm trying to make is that it isn't just black men. It isn't just black men. And I'm not saying that makes dark skinned women feel better, but it isn't just black men who feel that way. Like, it's not just your men. So let's go to number 3. Point number 3. Aesthetic preference doesn't equal disrespect. Point 3. Liking light-skinned women doesn't mean disliking dark-skinned women. Guys, this is huge, guys. People project guilt by assuming preference equals rejection. If a man still treats all women respectfully, which, brothers, we got to make sure we're doing that. If a man still treats all women respectfully, then his dating preferences are just that, preferences. Morality is measured by behavior, not by who someone finds attractive. Okay? So, again, just because I like Mariah Carey doesn't mean I don't like Lauryn Hill. I think, actually, I like, I mean, that might not even be a good analogy because I like Lauryn Hill more than Mariah Carey. But you get my point. It's possible for me to like light-skinned women and dark-skinned women, as a lot of brothers do. There's this myth that black men are chasing after light-skinned women, white women, Mexican women. Yes, we like those women, but the statistics show that over 80% of black men end up with black women. Over 80%. So, what are we talking about? Black men love black women. I understand that sometimes you run into a bozo or a fool, or your kid brother says something mean, and that's really, I think, what's happening. People are listening to their kid brother or their cousin who say, girl, you black critter. And then they take that and run with it. And we all have to do this. Things that you heard when you were 17, you kind of have to, not even 17. This is stuff we heard when we were 12. Come on, man. As a matter of fact, and this is sidetracking a little bit, but I got to bring this up. Black men like black women so much that we've been lately trying to tell black women, hey, take out the weaves. We would prefer your natural hair. And all we hear is excuses. No, The reason why we wear weaves is because you black men made us feel inferior. You made us think that you chase white women. You made us think we need long hair. So we wear these weaves because you guys put it in our minds that our hair needed to be long. And we're like, all right, yeah, in 1987 maybe, but we've grown. We've moved on. We've moved past that. I'm telling you right now, I would rather see a black woman in Bantu knots than a weave. And a lot of brothers feel the same way. In skin bleaching or anything like that, I hope no American sisters are doing that. That's completely out of the question. We hate it. But we even when it comes to the hair, yes, I get it. I agree. 1992, maybe Freaknik era. But we're past that, guys. We're past that. We like natural. I would rather your hair be cut short like Eve. Just a finger, short as mine, with a finger wave up in it, and dye it whatever color you want and keep it crisp. And then walk out looking stylish. I would prefer that than a weave. We're telling you, and you girls keep saying, no, you're just lying. You want long hair. No, you want long hair. You do. Because we're telling you, we're out of that. We're done. We don't like weaves. Or wigs. But two things you could do to kind of help that. And I know this is sidetracking. If you're gonna wear a wig, ladies, number one, find one with a hair texture that matches your genetics. Get the curly fro wig. Do the fro, the pretty loose coiled fro. That looks like that's your hair. You don't, it don't look, you're not supposed to have Marsha Brady, Kelly Kapowski hair. It doesn't look right. Everyone knows it's not yours. I'd much rather the loose coiled, what was that Dominican girl, dark skin, beautiful, and she had big fro. I forget. She was kind of famous for a minute. I forget her name, Amara, whatever her name is. I kind of forget her name, but I'd rather you wear a weave or a wig that fits your natural genetics. But if you won't do that, and if you're, because sometimes people have the genetics to where they look like that could be their hair, like Beyonce. Beyonce's, I know it's not, but her genetics, it looks to be as if that long hair could have grown from her head. If you are gonna wear a weave and a wig, spend the money. Spend the $600. Spend the $700. Just spend it. Stop putting the Sally Beauty Supply wigs on. Stop it. Stop letting your cousin put your weave in. Stop. Spend the money. If you're gonna do it, spend the money. And do it right. Make it look real. Make it look fitted in there. Make it look like it's actually attached to your head. Please, if you're gonna do it, and we would prefer you not, but if you're gonna do it, spend the money. Or wear a wig that actually matches black people's genetics. A fro, a pretty, not tight, the loose coil, loose curls, the curly fro, the pretty curly fro. Or spend the money on the weave and the wig. If you need it long, if you want to walk around like Marsha Brady, okay, but at least spend the big money and get it done right. At least do that. At least do that. No shade, but at least do that. But we're saying, my point is, we like black women so much, we would prefer you just wear braids or wear Bantu knots or just style your own hair. But sometimes I know we've ruined our hair with the edges are gone because you've been wearing weaves so much that you feel the need, you got to do something. Okay, well then at least spend the money. All right. But us liking light-skinned women should not mean disrespecting dark-skinned women. So brothers, you gotta maintain respect. Stop putting dark-skinned women down. The ones who are, because I don't think most of us are. There's very beautiful dark-skinned women. So let's just be cool on that. Let's be respectful to all women. All right. Number 4. And now we're going to get into some more psychology. For decades, mainstream media, movies, magazines, music videos, even though I hear MTV is almost no more, about to be discontinued. But music videos, magazines have pushed lighter skin as the visual standard of feminine beauty. Pretending that didn't influence an entire generation is naive. Yes, it did. It did. How many of you fellas like Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell? Lisa. Never mind. How many of you guys liked Lisa? The girl who played, played Lisa on Saved by the Bell. How many of you liked Hillary on Fresh Prince? Okay. They have pushed like different world. I was a Freddie fan. I liked Freddie. It was a girl name. Her name was Freddie on a show called A Different World. It was about a black kids in a black college. And her name was Crease. Her real name's Cree Summer. I mean, she's older now, but in her heyday, chef's kiss, in my opinion. So media and music videos that really aren't under the control of Black Americans have pushed Black men and Black people desiring, coveting more Eurocentric features. Acknowledging that influence doesn't make a man weak or racist. It makes him realistic. Look, and I've said this before, Black people are still Americans. I understand that we have been pushed to the side or made to feel like we aren't real Americans for many years. And then we also, from a self-protection point of view, kind of huddled together and, we're going to stick with each other. But the bottom line is we are Americans. We're not Africans, not in genetics even, well, not fully, and certainly not in thought. We are Americans. And what is an American? America was started by Europe. Essentially, Black people are dark Europeans. And I know that's controversial. I know that no one wants to accept that. But what else can we be? We were literally trained on the plantation by Scotch Irish people who are what? Europeans. So everything we know, everything we believe, everything we think, even if we put some slang on it or try to blacken it up, it's European. So you, me, finding someone with Eurocentric features to be more attractive is inevitable. You would actually have to fight against your own mental development rearing to not think that. And in fact, people that kind of really, I want to go to Africa and find Mbutu, that's them almost, they're doing that almost politically for a political statement, because you grew up watching Saved by the Bell. I'm old, so I get it. But Friends, you grew up watching Friends just like everybody else. You thought those girls on Friends and all Kelly on Married with Children. You thought she was fine, just like I did, just like Scott the white boy in Ventura. That we thought the same people were fine because we grew up in the same place. And so any group of women that favor that European standard, whichever women look the closest to Marilyn Monroe, that's who we are going to find is the most attractive because we are American. There are some differences because we are black and we do grow up looking at black faces, which is why we do appreciate black beauty. But we are also very heavily influenced in our culture. Black culture is not separate from American culture. It is a part of. And that's going to lead to Eurocentric leanings and thought processes, whether you like it or not. Number 5, shaming preferences creates dishonesty. Men who get bullied for liking a certain look often start pretending to be inclusive just to avoid the backlash. That leads to resentment and fake relationships. That's what I said. Men going over to Nigeria pretending they want to find. That's kind of what happened with the Jay Rillo thing. He went to Kenya, following behind some people that are claiming the Kenyan women are so gorgeous, and they are pretty. I find Kenyan women very pretty, but the guy who went over there, he knows he likes Dominican women. He knows he likes that Latin flavor. So you go over there trying to deny what you like, and then get over there and get confronted by some things that you don't really like, and now you've caused a big hoopla. When if he had just followed his first mind, let me just go to Brazil and go get what I like. Let me just go to the DR and go get what I like. Honesty. Shaming black men into feeling as if we have to like dark-skinned women leads to us dating dark-skinned women that we don't really like. And it ends up in disaster and heartbreak. Like who you like. But I'm going to say one more thing that's a bit controversial. Women don't do that. Women shame men into liking versions of what they think we should like. We can't shame a woman into liking anything. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with family members trying to get them to not like a certain guy, but because he has a certain kind of look, that's all they cared about. And there's nothing you can say about it. Hey, there's been times where I have been on a date with a girl, a Mexican girl. So it's not even about black women. A Mexican girl who hopped out of my Mercedes. She didn't care about how successful I was. Hopped out of my Mercedes after the date with a take-home bag of food from Nobu. And she'll hop right in her little mobile, her little car, and go right over to some thug's house who with no job and give him the leftovers that I purchased because he's tall with dreads and looks like Waka Flocka. And it don't matter that I could tell her, hey, I could take care of you. I'll make a good man. I'm here, I can provide for you. You never have to work again. None of that matters. She wants the dude that looks like Waka Flocka. She don't want to hear it. She wants the 6'3" dude. She wants the dude with the dreads in the caramel brown skin, and with some street swag. Don't want to hear it. She don't want to hear it. So, and again, this is a Mexican girl. It hasn't been one girl. That's happened to me a couple of times. Mexican women, not just black. So if men have to put up with the fetishes and desires of women, and there's nothing we can do about it, then women are going to have to deal with some of our fetishes. And if that happens to be that men favor light skin, then you just have to find the men who don't. You have to deal with the men who don't, or deal with the men who like both or don't really have an opinion whatsoever, of which there's millions. Again, there's nothing innately wrong with anyone, no matter their skin color, but it's a preference thing. And women have certain preferences that men have to adjust to. You know, when we go to a party, the men in the party that look like Kobe Bryant, we kind of have to just sit back and wait until he chooses who he wants. Hey, you got who you want? You good? Kobe, you good? You want her? Okay. You good? Oh, you want her too? So you're good? Oh, then we can choose, because he's gonna get who he wants. The Kobe Bryant, Quavo looking dudes are gonna get who they want, and then we gotta get the leftovers. So we got to do it. You guys got to deal with some preferences that we're into, and it's just life. So okay, guys, it's your boy, it's your main man, Prometheus, aka Lando Style Rizian, and I'll see you in the next one.